So did you guys get hit as kids?
Oh, yeah.
You did? Is that a normal Latino thing?
I think obviously our generation, which we're older, yeah, that's how it was.
I never got hit.
You didn't get hit at all?
Never got hit?
I have relatives who hit their kids, but
You had people that hit other people in lieu of hitting you.
I've seen, I won't name who they are, but other aunts and uncles who I've seen them, hit their kids, but my parents never hit us.
Why?
But my dad would threaten to hit us. He always said, I'm going to get my belt.
Yeah.
And he's not Latino. He's just
He's American.
a white dude from New York. He's like, I'm going to get my belt. And he'd go, here you go, but he never got any further than that. So I kind of learned that I'm like, you're not going to.
But did he do this? Did he do this? He's like, hey, I'm from New York. Let me get my belt.
Oh.
Bro, what did you take? What did you take?
Because he's from New York. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that how your dad talks?
Oh, everyone from New York talk like that.
Hey, I'm going to my belt. Hey, I'm Little Mo. Little Mo Mozzarella. Have you heard that?
Oh, no.
You never seen this guy?
No.
It's it's from New York. It's like, his name is Little Mo Mozzarella.
Oh, no.
And he's just very New York. He's like, hey.
Oh, no, but he literally, my dad couldn't hurt a fly. He just tried to act threatening, intimidating.
But you didn't know. You're like, yeah, sure, Dad.
Yeah, after a while, I was like, okay, right. And he's like, don't get smart with me. You're getting smart. And I thought smart meant like good because you're smart.
Yeah.
You're like,
smart ass.
I have to be dumb.
Yeah, he's like, because I'd be a smart ass. And he's like, don't get smart.
When
I'm
you
going to get my
started
belt.
getting bad grades, you're like, Dad, I'm sorry. I don't want to be smart with you.
But yeah.
So you
that's
never
far
got
away.
hit. But your mom, because in Spanish people, hit their kids.
Not, I mean, she raised us. We moved here when I was 8. So
She raised you the American way.
so we only got hit in Spain. And then no, I'm kidding. We never got hit.
You never got hit
You're
in
like,
America?
wait till we get in the plane.
Yeah.
Did you guys get hit? Did you get hit?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Show us. Can you show us
the belt.
where?
Well, not only did I get the belt, but
Which belt?
back in the day.
So what belt did you use?
Hold on. Back in the day, it was even more psychological because it was like me go get the belt.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They go, you go get it. You go get it.
And pick out what my thing is psychological.
Well, that's a little weird.
Did you get to pick which belt?
Yeah, there was one that was worse than the other. So if I had a choice, then I would get. Yeah,
I never got the choice. I was just.
Yeah, I think that's like old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I used to get my mom. It was the 80s, so my mom wore those like thick, like Madonna belts, like those.
Yeah.
So that's what the ones she would use.
Oh, so your mom
What are the
would hit
Madonna
you.
belts?
I don't know,
Like those wide ones.
Exactly that one.
Yeah.
Wait, did
Like
your mom
80s?
hit you or your dad?
My dad usually disciplined me. My mom usually wouldn't. But then sometimes when she lost it, it was like worse than my dad.
Yeah.
No, it was always my
She
mom.
would just grab whatever was around.
My dad
but it
would
was in the 80s. But it's so funny because I also remember the last time that my dad used the belt because it was the last time because I was already like 12 or 13 and it no longer scared me or it hurt me. Yeah. So I remember he like, because you're doing something. One day I went, and he was like, huh? I was like, all right, we're done with that. It was like unspoken. Like he did it, but it wasn't the same like fear. Like I just grew out of it.
Yeah.
So it was done. And from
then
that
he-
point
so
on.
What age would that
And then he
be?
started punching me. No, just kidding.
What age does the belt hitting stop?
I think it was like around 12 or 13.
Yeah, mine was like earlier than that, but it was the same thing. I think it was like, when you're like, I was like, I was like 8 or 9 or whatever, but it was like, my thing wasn't like, I would get the thing of the laugh of like, because my mom would chase me.
Oh, yeah. The more you run. Yeah.
Would you run around the table?
Yeah, like run around the table with all the
yeah.
chairs. Like,
That's also psychological where they go, the more you run, the more you're going to get hurt. You're like trying to
But then
figure
you
out.
get to that corner, you know where to go. And at that point, you would stop crying and you start laughing, right? Because you're like,
nervous.
I'm going to get it. Come on. And then you become like a
How many
psychopath.
beatings?
Be like, come on,
how
hit
many,
me.
How many whips? How many beatings?
I don't remember. I will say this. I'm not justifying it. Like
Until
it
they
wasn't
were
that bad,
tired.
but it was. Oh, I'll tell you what. I never got spanked. Has anybody gotten spanked?
Wait, what is the difference between that and the
With
belt?
the hand? Like a hand, like old school
Oh,
spank.
yeah.
Oh, like that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
it was
Like
always-
sitting somebody over the thing and like hitting. I never got
Wait,
spanked.
you got that?
I think I did.
Okay, so
Maybe
that's
like
a caveat.
2.
I would always get hit in the head.
But that was like a baby, like when you were little.
Reset.
Yeah, reset.
Factory reset.
Yeah. Like my mom would be like, bah, like out of nowhere, I'd be like, fuck. And then so like I'd
See,
be
that's what I was saying earlier.
I'd be walking
like,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, I had a little bit of that. It wasn't like a
So when
beating. It was just like a pop.
It was, so let's say, your mom, because it was all my dad never hit us.
Really?
But my dad
It was my dad
worse.
mostly. It was my dad.
Oh, really?
Wait,
No,
is
my
your
mom.
dad the Latino or the white one?
We're-
What?
Wait, what?
They're both Latinos. Just one that's white passing.
Somebody gotta get me.
White passing.
right.
No, like remember, like what I mentioned, or
Right,
like,
right,
well,
right.
it's what
For
I.
all our listeners that have been listening.
But my mom is.
Okay.
Her skin is white, but they're both from Venezuela.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just to me, it's like whatever. It's the same thing, you know. But
White
like,
complected.
But my thing, it was like my mom was the one that would.
So it was
hit
like
us.
good cop, bad cop kind of thing?
No, because my dad would never like yeah, it was always all the, you know, if my dad would get angry, it would be more like later on as we grew older, like what it was more about like getting late or partying too late or coming, you know, like, but
so
it was
like
more
children's
angry of yelling, but not like hitting at that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I remember hitting was more like younger stuff when you're like, and this is what I guess we can talk about. It's like, I think, yeah, the hitting part is like, it's like you do that when you're younger because you're like, you know, but like as you get older, I feel like you don't need to hit people because like you're saying, doesn't work out or like, but you get, actually, it's more about grounding people. Like you're not going to do
That's
that.
what I got. I got grounding. I fucking hated that more than. And I got, you know what I got? I'd rather be beaten by a belt. Is the repeated sentences. The thing
so you got Corporal Planet. Like
I got. I will not. I
Wait,
will
you were
not.
The Simpsons? Like The Simpsons?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. Oh my god!
I
all
never
the
did that.
time.
Never did that.
It's the worst punishment because it doesn't work.
You're
You just
like,
hate your
I'd
parents.
rather, let me go pick out the belt, Dad.
Yeah, let me get. I'd be like, I. Will. Like I tried to make it fun. It was so annoying.
So what was that thing that got you most in trouble when you were growing up? Like I think like being like you got in trouble.
Talking back, and
But like the worst one, like the worst you remember is like I you know that you really fucked up.
They're
you
not
know?
really that bad, but the guy at the
Disrespect.
at the market, this
The tree
guy,
guy.
this guy I dated, right?
He's
the
a tree
guy. He we like
The tree guy. By the way, his name is Tarzan.
he and I like
I'm the
took
tree guy.
off because see my mom. Okay, I don't know if this is a
You
Spanish
took
thing.
off?
I don't know if this is a Spanish thing, but my mother would not allow me to go to a party or be with somebody if it was an even number of men and women.
What?
Yes.
Because
It was
everybody
like-
was afraid someone's gonna get pregnant.
How would you know? You have to be like,
was
okay,
afraid.
well,
Well,
That's
Afraid
the
she was
funny
afraid.
part.
She
That's
would
the
call
thing.
you.
It'd be like, she'd be like, you're going to a party? Like, how many guys and how many
Wait,
girls?
but okay.
Okay, role play.
Okay, so what's the
basically,
logic?
It's the
of that?
coupling up. It's basically, I don't know where she got it from, but there's going to be 4 guys and 4 girls at the party. You're not going. So I learned over time to be like, there's going to be 3 guys and 7 girls. 20. Whatever, right?
Those guys are lucky.
Yeah.
Song legs.
So basically, I knew when I wanted to go out with Tree Guy that if I brought a
the whole
friend,
forest. It was a whole forest of friends.
if I brought one more friend, and there was 3 of us,
Yeah.
it was the same.
So your mom never heard of threesomes?
Not at this age, I guess.
not in Spain. Not in
no.
She
Spain.
never knew about orgies. She
Not
never
in
knew about
Spain.
three
No.
souls.
This will not be a clip, by the way. It can be in the podcast, but not a clip because my
using
mother
it.
watches Instagram.
No, yeah, it'll be the podcast, but not the clip.
But not the clip, right? So
Kidding.
Clipping.
So basically, I said that my friend was coming to the beach with us, and I completely got lost in the lie. At some point, I called late because I needed to check in with my parents. She found out I was in trouble. I mean, I was lying, and then I got in trouble.
And you were how old?
Well, I was dating him when I was 20, so I was home.
You're older.
So what was your punishment?
Grounded always got me in trouble.
You were
'cause
20 and grounded.
because I was living
That
under
sounds like
their
an
roof.
MTV
It's better
show.
than like 15 and pregnant.
But I was living under their house.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're
16
not
and
going. You're not going to a different state, to a different beach, under
yeah,
my
yeah.
roof,
Yeah.
and lying to me with a guy. And then it was all that whole like, you don't know how you look. You look like a tramp
Oh my God.
because you're not married. It was that whole premarital sex thing.
Wow.
All of that. So grounded was the hardest. She knew because I always wanted to go out. So
And now grounded is
I was-
not as hard, is not as impactful because everybody is on their phones.
phone.
You'd have to take away their phones.
Exactly.
Although if you do take the internet off, people now kids
But like, yeah, you're
lose
right.
their minds.
Because go to your room
that's a
was
good
like
punishment.
the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Go to your room. It's like, no, please don't make no.
Well,
I
I used to retreat into a world that, because my sisters were 10 years older. I was basically the little mascot. So I understand that I had also a lot of energy. So I understand that I was never disrespectful, but it was too much.
Yes.
I probably, if I would have born in this time period, I would have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. But at that time in the 80s, nobody knew what that was. So I just had a lot of energy, and it was just like that. I was just bouncing constantly. So people were gonna get sick of that.
Yeah.
So even when I got into my room, I was just like playing. Like I couldn't be stopped. I was just like whatever I could find. I was just like.
Well, you never did anything that was like that really like your parents were really mad at you. Like what the fuck?
I know because I never. I was always very reverent to my to my parents. Like I was never like my oldest sister. I think was probably because she was the eldest. I think she was probably more like
Yeah, my sister was rebellious.
Not rebellious, but like combative. I feel like maybe, but because I was the baby. I was the youngest. I didn't grow up with that. So, but I do remember when I was about to go to college, because my freshman year I went to Mayagüez, so it was like 2.5 hour drive from. When I was in college in Puerto Rico, my freshman year, I still stayed in Puerto Rico. And the first time that I had to drive out there to figure out an apartment and all that stuff, when I was driving back, I was speeding. I was speeding with my friend because we were in 2 different cars and we were going so fast. And I got stopped, the police. And at that time, I got like 2 or 3 tickets. And that's probably to me the thing that scared me. By the time I got home, I literally just surrendered my driver's license. I didn't even want to tell the story. I literally just went to my dad and I went, I got a ticket, and I put the ticket and the driver's license, and I didn't drive. But I knew I was gonna need to drive, so they kind of grounded me during the summer. But I was gonna have to drive back to the college. But that was like an example of what I was like. This is beyond anything. The laws involved.
So you were a good kid.
And then you went upstairs and then you picked out a belt.
Yeah, and I hit myself.
Himself.
No, because I remember.
That's why I don't wear belts anymore.
Yeah, but I was the same way.
Just
like my
drawstring.
sister was older, so she would the one that would always get more in trouble, or and then I remember one time when I did I don't know why I was arguing with my dad, but it was like when I was older and like it became as a man, I think this is more of a man thing.
You challenged him?
Where it was like kind of like you want to fight?
fights?
Like you want to we didn't fight, but it was more like where like you're old as a guy. You're like
it happens to all of us when you're growing up.
When you're growing up, you become like, and at that point, I remember going like, "Oh, I'm a man," because I was like, I wasn't afraid of my dad. I was like, "What? You want to fight?" And and I remember at that point, I was like, "Oh, my pubes came out," and I was like,
At the same time.
Oh
Yes.
my God. That happened to me with my sister.
"Your pubes came out."
Her pubes came out.
Wow.
No, my sister's older and she would like sit on me and tickle me hard. Like deep,
torturous?
Like
What do you mean
torturous,
sit
yeah.
on you? Like
Like, they just
The mechanic.
push you down.
No, just not like that.
And then one day I started growing more and I was like, goodbye, bitch. And I could beat her up and it was great.
Yeah. It's that. So I felt. I remember I going that of like, oh man, I'm like, and it was that whole thing of like the switch of like, oh, I'm a guy. I'm like, yeah, you don't. Now we can, if we're gonna argue, you're gonna talk to me like a person.
Yeah.
This is not I'm the kid anymore kind of thing. Which is like, but I remember like the whole thing of like getting in trouble, like because I don't know if it happened to anybody when you something like it happened to you and you're gonna get in trouble. Like I remember I got like really drunk, like fucked up, like I messed up. What happened was we were gonna go to in DC, we're gonna go to a club and there was like a girl that I liked. So me and my friends we drank like in an hour. We drank like tequila and scotch and rum and Bacardi 151, like
bro,
all in an hour.
Damn.
'Cause, and then I remember like and in DC, I used to live in the suburbs. So, in Maryland, you go like drive, it's like 30, 40 minutes. As we're driving, I'm like, now I remember I started blacking out. Like, I remember going like, I remember they were trying to get to the clubs and I was like 18 or 17.
Oh my God.
And they were like, we can't let him in. Cause my sister had the connection. So we'd always go in without, under 21. But I was so fucked up that like, we can't let him in. He's so I kind of ruined everything. But I remember coming back home and I'm in the bathroom, and I'm like just completely fucked up. And like, and my dad, opens the door, and he sees, and like at this point I'm thinking, well, he's going to yell at me. And he just looks at me. He just looks at me and just goes, taps me on the shoulder, goes like, and then closes the door. And I was like, and at that point I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, started crying. I was like,
You let him down.
Yeah, it was like great punishment. And this is what I mean about punishment. Like as you get older, like, that's a better punishment than hitting people. You know what I mean? Because that's more like you said, it's more disappointing. Like I felt the disappointment of like, But also, I also felt that my dad was like, this is enough punishment for you. You already realize that you fucked up, you know, and like, I don't need to add to it because it's like, you know, and I remember like, I don't think at the next day, they didn't tell me anything. It was more, I felt bad because I fucked up the whole night for everybody. So I remember calling people going like, I'm sorry, I got fucked up. And, you know, but it was that whole thing of like, you think you're going to get, you know, trouble, and then it's like, you know, I don't know if that's
the opposite. That's happened to me.
That's happened to
me. Yeah. It's a similar situation, but you know, it was more like my mom. She's like, I got way too fucking drunk and stuff, and then you know, just came home, and I don't even know what happened or what, but the next morning I woke up and it was just a bad scene.
Wait, how old were you, by the way?
I think I was about to go to college, or I was like I was
18, 19.
Yeah, like 18, something like that, 19, something like that. And then I woke up and there's just like vomit all over my bed and stuff, and I was like, shit, my mom's gonna kick my ass. And like I get out and I just remember she literally didn't say anything, but she had already, I think she saw me when I was asleep.
Yeah,
and like
she realized that.
Yeah, she's like, you're a freaking moron.
But at that point, it's like, it is.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
at that
you
point?
already did it. Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, like I can't do that anymore. Like that's just disrespectful.
But that the anxiety and anticipation of something that doesn't happen is worse than the actual thing that's happening. So that's what you guys were both feeling.
But also, I think that's a great form of punishment.
But she was disappointed. That's the thing.
But talking about like punishment, like I think when you're little, I think like how we grew up, that physical punishment worked because when you're little, you don't know about the disappointment. But as you get older, that if you especially disappointing your parents, that's more of a punishment than any whipping.
You're too young to know about disappointment. You're just kind of like existing for yourself.
So I feel it's good to like, you know, progress. But because also now, like, there, you know, you see some parents that we see it in the fucking supermarket or like, you know, the kids fucking just destroying everything and the parents not doing anything. I'm like, what the fuck? Grab the little kid, man.
It's so different.
It's like, I mean, it's disrespectful.
Timmy.
Or they go to your house and they're touching everything. It's like, no, fucking let the kid.
And they're like, no, he's gotta go. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
No,
exactly.
He's gotta explore.
Airport.
No, get the fuck go. Explore back to your house.
Bro. Yeah.
Like I remember when I used, my parents would be like, hey, you didn't go, if you're going to your house, you stay, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, don't ask for anything.
Yeah.
If they offer you something,
And that's a
don't
very
even look them in
Latino
the eyes.
thing. That's a very Latino
That's the
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that
yeah.
I think that they used to teach a lot of, to respect your elders. So you grow up with, when you're younger, you didn't understand why, but you knew you had to respect older adults. And I think that sets the seed, because I feel like now I don't think that's important. So now kids are like, grow up with not respecting anything. And so then now you wonder why they have trouble with their bosses, why they have trouble at work, why they have trouble.
They think they know everything.
Well, everything
you know.
now is about like speak up and be yourself and be independent and da 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 da. Instead of like,
it's always, that's always gonna be the thing. Like it's like, it's gotta be a limit to that thing, because it's like just, and also if your work again. If you're coming to somebody's house, you got to respect that person's house or their job or whatever. If not,
but even
don't fucking
teaching,
work
like
there.
my sister's a teacher, and like when we grew up, the teacher was right, and now the kids are always right. You know,
that's
like
changed.
it's changed completely, and nobody wants to be a teacher now.
Bro, I had a teacher throw a pen at me, literally almost hit me in the eye, and then she was just like, "I am so sorry," like literally instantly reaction. But I was like, "Yo, like teachers go through a lot, bro."
You had a really moment of like, no, teach, you know what? I could have lost my eye, but I understand.
No, but the pen is like right here. His eye is like,
literally, bro, it like hit me like right here, and then I think she was just scared.
Yeah, she could have gone to jail.
She could have gone to jail.
And you should have been like, hey, you know what I teach?
And it.
That's what I call a quick and dirty.
Yeah, she was like, "Can you come over for a quick?"
See, what we
dirty?
like to do is for you guys to watch all the episodes so you understand the
Callbacks.
references,
the callbacks.
It's important. And if you don't know, welcome to Thanks for Nothing.
So if you have kids, are you gonna have kids? Would you ever have?
So if
kids?
you're gonna have
Makes you
kids,
think I
would you
don't
have
have
kids?
kids?
What?
I might have a kid.
You're gonna have a kid?
No, I don't have kids. No.
You don't want to
I'm
have
not gonna
kids?
have kids.
Why not?
No kids.
I mean, no. Why?
Well, why? I mean, there's got to be a reason.
We're gonna cut this.
Yes. No, it's just I don't want to.
That was a choice she made.
You don't like kids.
I hate them. No, of course I love kids. I have nieces.
Okay, but
Doesn't
you don't.
mean I
Wanna,
need to have them.
Yeah, surrogate.
but you don't want to have somebody like a little Carmen or a little boy Carmen.
A little tree boy.
Oh my god. A little Mowgli? A little Mowgli?
Yeah, because I was gonna ask like how if you have kids, how you were gonna raise them, and like would you do like with your parents? You know, because my thing.
I
is
think
like,
I would be strict. Like I would probably try and keep what my mother did. I think that really worked.
Me too. Like I think
The old-fashioned
I do
way.
like
Yeah.
80% or 70% of my parents did, and then like the 30% of like, all right, that you shouldn't be doing. That's a little
Right.
too much.
Yeah.
Again, it's
Or
a
just
balance.
consequences.
I wouldn't push the religion stuff. You know.
Yeah.
The shame and the fear.
Or just yeah.
Fear of God.
Or the same number of kids in the party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're gonna have to kick somebody out of that party if you want to be at that party.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I want to have kids.
But
yeah,
would you raise them?
I think I would. There was somewhere in between. I think like what's important, whether we talk about hate or not, I think the root of it is to teach consequences, and I think that's also important for kids to learn, because I think that goes hand in hand with the respecting of people. If you're learning to respect people, you're learning to see people, you know, from as opposed to always be combative. And I think I've seen that in when kids don't have that and how they end up like growing up, and it's a, you know, it makes it harder late. If you don't do it at the beginning, then you're going to pay for it. If your parents are going to pay for it later when you're older. So I would definitely implement respect. And I think it would be important for me, for the kids to understand that you know, actions have consequences. And obviously that goes hand in hand. So if you apply those things to everything that we just talked about, if they're at the airport, if they're at somebody else's house, if they're talking back to whatever, like that's, I think, something that, so, you know, you learn these things when you're little. And so by the time you kind of like start growing up and you're becoming older, I think it's kind of it's a chip that's already in there, and then you can still become your own person and still have these things that they're not a foreign concept, to respect other people and to know that your actions have consequences. Because when you're a child, you don't really think that way. You go as far as like that's why kids are not necessarily like they have to be needy and they have to be about themselves, because that's all they have, that's all they know. That's why kids are like, I need to do this, I want that. And so by the time you get to the point, if you have a chip, then hopefully they grow up to be semi-decent people.
Nah, and I think it's, by the way, I remember like when, I think it's also sometimes it's not even hitting, but like the look of a parent, you know, when your dad or your mom, be like, they would give you this
sometimes
look.
That's
like,
enough.
It's like, you know, when you do something, you're like, and they give you that look of like, you did something and they just give you that look of like wait till we get home. Like that.
Oh
shit,
my God, that was
They
the
would do that.
worst.
My mom would be like, "Dad, can you get papi?"
Wait till your dad gets home, or wait till your mom gets home. But my mom, it's funny, she would get mad at me in Spanish, but when she got mad at me in English, it made me laugh because she had such a thick accent.
Oh, really?
That I was like, oh, you really think I'm going to take this seriously?
It was like a cartoon character voice.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
But one time I was probably like 7 years old, and this is the only time I can think of that I did not get in trouble. I was 7 years old and we were having dinner, and my dad had just bought a new computer. It was our first computer. And he had shown us like how to start a file, how to, you know, print, how to make a folder, all that. And then we went to dinner, and, you know, I like called my file names, like I called it fucker, just because I was rebellious. I was like, I want to call my file fucker, you know? And I didn't think he was going to look at my file that I made. So at dinner, he was like, so angry. My parents were so traditional, and he was like, I have to, and it was just me and my mom and my sister and like the four of us, and he's like, I want to know who called, I guess you couldn't tell who wrote it.
Oh, okay.
And who called the file downstairs on the new computer a bad word. He wouldn't even say it, you know. And he went around the table to obviously it's not my mother, right?
Yeah.
And my sister was such a goody, and she was like, Daddy, I would never do that. And I was like, no one, I don't know what, everyone can say no here, and he's never going to know. So,
Did you already know you were in trouble? You were trying to
no,
play it
I
off?
was like, I didn't do it. I mean, he's like, he has no hidden camera.
That's hilarious.
You know?
All right, let's see.
Deny.
Finally, he's like, someone's got to answer. And I go, ask mom, you know? Like, why would my mom do that? But I was like, and she was like, of course I didn't do it, you know? And then my sister was like, I didn't do it. And I was like, I didn't do it. And they couldn't blame anyone because nobody knew, but they knew it was me. But at the end, it was funny. He'd go, who called the file a bad word? And then at the end, he goes, who called it fucker?
You know? He said
From
that?
across the room?
Fucker. Well, no, it did it at the dinner table.
Oh,
But he was angry.
did he slam his
Because he's getting frustrated.
And
you're like, Dad.
I constantly said no, and I learned. I think I learned that like you can just deny stuff.
That's
not
when you
a
learn to
good
lie.
lesson. That's not a good lesson.
And they'll never know, so they couldn't really punish me.
Damn.
Wow.
So now
But then in my household,
Yeah.
or in another situation, you'll be like, well, everybody gets
It's
punished.
punished.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a
Of course.
communal thing.
Of
Yeah.
course. If you're gonna one of you is lying, one of you is wrong, you're both gonna.
But they knew it was me, and they would never punish my sister because she never did anything wrong. That was a problem. I never had an older sibling.
So
who
you
was
used her as a
rebellious.
shield.
If my parents had a younger kid, they would have been sad. But I was the one that was breaking ground. My sister didn't do shit. You didn't do shit for me. All right, someone at this table named a file by a bad word, and I want to know immediately who it was. You?
I don't even know what a bad word is.
You?
It wasn't me.
It was me, fucker.
And see.
Thanks for nothing.
That's how you should have done it.
Yeah, I should have done it.
You would've looked straight in his
You would have been
eyes.
so confident that he'd be like, I don't know how to react to this.
You're being smart. You're being smart.
What did your dad used to call you? Did he call you Carmen, or did he have a nickname?
No, just Carmen.
Just Carmen?
Yeah.
Carmen.
So, like, if he would get upset, like...
Do you have a middle name?
Oh, Carmen Michelle Lynch.
Yeah.
Did you get the whole Carmen? Carmen
I mean, I'm Maria del Carmen, but nobody ever said that.
Maria del Carmen.
Maria del Carmen Michelle Lynch.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of...
That's a lot of words.
That is...
Maria del Carmen.
Authentic.
Michelle Lynch.
Maria del Carmen.
Maria.
Maria.
What is it?
Maria del
Maria
Carmen.
del Carmen.
Maria del Carmen Pilar? No.
Maria del Carmen
Michelle.
Michelle.
Maria del Carmen Michelle Lynch.
This is-
Michelle Lynch.
And then you take your mother's maiden name, which is Forest.
Forest?
Forest.
Is that why you like forests? Just 'cause-
Forest without the T.
Ah.
One
Forest.
R. Forest.
Forest.
With an accent on the E. Forest.
Maria Carmen
never heard
Michelle.
that.
Forest. In Catalonia? No?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Did you find out? Did you ever, like, when you grew up there, was like, hey, you know, it was me, Dad? Or did your dad
No,
tell you? I
they-
knew. They never
so
talked.
funny.
They
That's
never
the thing
talked
too.
about
That
it.
parents.
They
I
probably
feel-
just changed it
There's
to,
a
like,
thing that
flour or
sometimes
something.
parents don't like. When you get older, you know, you do stuff and they just like. I remember like when you do something and your parents like look at you and you're like, you know, like I did it, but they pretend.
Right.
They don't like. I remember when I was like, you know, like I remember one time my mom found some condoms or something, and I was like, who is it? Who are these? And I was like, and my friend Boludo. I was like, oh, it's Boludos, and she's like, oh, okay. but it was like we both look at each other. It's like
This is an understanding
like,
that we
it's
don't
like,
want to
we don't
proceed
wanna
any
talk
further.
about it.
Do you really want to know?
It was like it's obviously mine, but I was like, she's like, okay, sure, I'm gonna pretend that say. Have you done that with your parents?
I blame someone else. Like when how like when your parents are out of town, you throw a party.
Yeah.
So my parents went
Oh,
out
yeah.
of town.
Very teen movie.
Yeah,
We
like
had a
high
party,
school,
too.
We had a party, and then my parents had this really nice, like, big hot tub. Not big, but nice. And so everybody wanted to go in the hot tub, and my mom is like, sacred, don't go in my bedroom.
Yeah.
That is not, she's got the crucifix.
Yeah, of
but did you make the
everything.
party? Like, did you tell your parents you were having the party?
No, hell no.
Oh, okay, got it.
So then my mother would notice like anything moved, and her wedding frame, her picture was like moved.
Oh, wow.
And she goes, "What's this?" And I blamed my best friend because I was like, I didn't want to get in trouble.
Oh wow.
So like,
Carmen.
Stacy did it, and then I didn't even think it was a big deal. I just figured, I didn't want to get in trouble. She can't blame her. And my friend was so pissed. Yeah. But I was
Yeah.
like,
Then they couldn't let her back into the house.
But I mean, eventually they did. But she was like, my mom was like, I don't like that she did that. And she goes, I don't think she did. She did. I think she knew I did.
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
I
My
did
parents
that.
aren't stupid.
I also had the party too. Me and my sister, we had a party, and like my parents, but we like it wasn't like a crazy party, but we had like a bunch of like 40, 50 people in the house. And, like,
Jeez.
but then I remember we actually did get back to like we actually rented one of those like those
Lawnmowers?
No. Shopping carts?
no, the vacuums to clean like
the professional like
Carpet cleaner. Yeah.
we did all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the stuff of the liquor, we put water on like the vodka and all this
yeah.
shit.
So you provided the house
We
and
did
the
that.
alcohol.
yeah, I mean, we're all
That's a
under
party.
21.
That's a party.
But yeah, I don't know if they ever
Notice?
because we drink the stuff that they know. That's the key. You have to drink the stuff that your
They
parents don't
notice.
drink.
Yeah, see, that's
That
key.
the alcohol
Yeah.
that they have for the guests, that's the shit that you drink.
And if they don't drink a lot, my parents didn't drink a lot. We'd fill like the bottles with water too.
Of course,
It's
yeah.
all really good stuff that we can
'Cause it
pass
wasn't
down
like
to
the
our
scotch.
children.
Yeah, you gotta drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good rule to have. I mean, I think that's a cool too of like when you're a parent and you're like a teenager kid. Like, I think that's a cool like thing. It's like, all right, let's see who's gonna beat each other. Like in terms of like, you're gonna beat me in my own game. It's like I'm older, but it's like, hey, all right. Because if I have a kid and they do something like
Game
a
recognizes
party,
game.
but then yeah, exactly. I'd be like, all right, I accept that. That was
Okay.
cool. You're still in trouble, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you? I mean, what would people do? Would you get teepeed? Would your houses get teepeed and stuff?
Like Halloween?
No.
They'd like-
That was never
No.
a thing in my house. No, that was
Not
like,
in your house,
no.
but in your school.
I mean, I remember that people
Other
talked
kids.
about it, but that was like such a like again. I was in a transition where it was like I had like Latino friends and then American friends.
The Latinos don't teepee.
Sorry, I just had a flashback.
Oh.
People would throw eggs at cars that were passing by,
Yes.
like in my neighborhood.
Damn.
And so like a car would be passing by and just like hit like the window, and I'm like, damn, that must have been traumatizing
It was so
for those
dumb.
people.
Like life
Yeah.
without social media, like you would just grab for
That was
sale
fun.
signs
Yeah,
and
carton
like
of
put them in
eggs.
the yards of people, or like stick forks in their yard.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
We
I
would get weed killer and we would write on the lawns because that would essentially like
Oh, it would.
whatever you would
Yeah.
draw or write. So we
Yeah.
would write stuff like I want to say like I never did party. I never like my own version of getting away with shit. Like that's the stupid shit. Like we would be like and we would
Yeah.
like draw something and then next day it would just show up because it would burn the grass.
Right.
When I was growing up, this is the worst thing we could do, but we had so much fun. Like our house is where I lived in the suburb, and it was like a one of those gated communities that all the houses are pretty much the same model, and they all had the breakers outside. So we would go and shut it down and shut it back up. Like we wouldn't leave it off, but we would just go doo doo. So it would shut down the whole house, and that we would run. And then I'm sure they'd be like, "What the fuck?" But we thought that was like the craziest shit we would do.
yeah.
Anyway, so it's a little different experience.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty tame. I mean, I remember I grew up with like we had where were you like in school we used to put like the ¿cómo se llama? Chinches, los chinches, or like
Clips?
like plugs, like the things that you put in the cord in the cork board, like little what is it called?
Yeah, the thumbtacks.
Thumbtacks.
Oh, thumbtacks, yeah.
in the
Like so
in
people
the,
would sit on it.
so the kids would sit on it. I remember.
my God.
I remember
Yeah.
we used to do that, and then like it was like this guy who was like a big guy, and like remember we put like 4 or 5, and he just said and nothing happened. We're like, what the fuck?
Got thick skin.
And he
thick skin.
And he would get, but yeah, we would do shit like that, or like we were in the school bus, and we would go to other schools and throw like water balloons or sometimes
did that.
fireworks, like fosforitos. You throw them, it's like
Petardos.
a little
Petardos,
dynamite and just throw it to kids in the school.
We
It
would
was like
put the
crazy
thumbtacks
shit.
on the floor so they would step on them. On
You
their
would do
shoes.
that? Oh,
On
in the
shoe- on
shoes. Okay.
Okay.
So let us know how did you get punished? What was the worst punishment? Did your parents, hit you like us, or did you not? Or like, is that a thing that you like? Let us know.
And what is the worst thing you've ever done? Tell us. We won't tell anyone.
Yeah. So what was the
Share
worst
it.
thing?
It's
you
just so we
did?
can feel good about ourselves.
Please like and subscribe and
Like and
comment
subscribe.
and keep those emails coming.
And hey,
Yes.
and hey, thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing.
Hey,
For nothing, guys.
Hey. Thanks for now.